If it hasn't been made clear already, the Exodus, or the release from Egypt, is an early example of the Bible pointing us to the coming day of salvation. Even though the Israelites worked hard, they could not earn their own freedom. As God began to work, the enemy bumped up his game, so to speak. While they sought freedom from their bondage, the enemy intensified their sufferings. Pharaoh did all he could to hold on to his captive labor force in the same way that Satan begins to increase our discomfort when we begin to look to God for relief. The response of the Israelites mirrors our natural response to similar situation. They blamed Moses and God for their increased suffering, although these two were working towards their freedom. Even after they had been released, they continued to blame God for their difficulties rather than thanking Him for their freedom and His continual providence in all things. Just as Adam and Eve in the beginning, what they lacked blinded them to the fullness of the blessings that they'd received. This should be a reminder to us that salvation will not free us from trouble, but it will keep us from destruction if we continue to trust God through every trial we face. Receiving salvation does not mean that we no longer live in a fallen world. The troubles of life will remain as long as the enemy is roaming the earth, seeking whom he may devour. But we can have peace in the midst of the storm when we trust God through it all. This is the promise of salvation here and now. But the fullness of the eternal benefits will far surpass what we experience in this life.